Oh my goodness, did we just witness an episode for the ages in the summer I turned pretty? Seriously, there are few things more captivating than experiencing Belly's world through the eyes of Jeremiah. And let me tell you, I soaked up every single second of it. However, this might be the last glimpse we get of them alone, almost as a couple, because that wedding is looming large. And even though Jeremiah is going to make one last desperate attempt to stop everything, Belly, bless her heart, seems to be past the point of no return. So, without further ado, let's dive into the Summer I Turned Pretty episode 6. In episode 5, we were completely immersed in Jeremiah's perspective. The entire episode, we watched Belly and her tumultuous relationship with Conrad unfold through his eyes. This wasn't just a brilliant stylistic choice, it was incredibly insightful, giving us the full scope of the situation. Up until now, we've seen Belly's thoughts, Conrad's reactions, and how Jeremiah feels about it all. And while Jeremiah's expressions alone are usually enough to convey his heartbreak, hearing his inner monologue was truly invaluable in understanding his struggle and his loyalty. In episode 5, we saw that Jeremiah is not just hurting, but he's in a constant battle with himself, trying to resist being more assertive with Belly, trying to hold back from approaching her, and desperately trying to keep his deep affection for her hidden. And if you've ever been truly in love, you know it's an almost impossible feat to not constantly want to be near them, to not whisper their name, to keep your hands to yourself, and not be entirely consumed by their presence. So, I truly believe Jeremiah is, once again, a deeply relatable character. We can all see ourselves in his struggle, well, maybe with the slight exception of falling in love with your brother's ex-girlfriend. But let's not get sidetracked. We also witnessed in this episode that Jeremiah and Belly shared such genuine intimacy before everything went south. And Jeremiah clings to those precious memories, even though a part of him knows he needs to let go. Now, I don't know if you'll agree with me, but I can't shake the feeling that Jeremiah is battling a severe case of the younger sibling syndrome. Ever since Susanna made him promise to look out for Conrad, he believes it's his duty as the younger brother to ensure Conrad has everything. So he consistently puts Conrad's happiness before his own desires, which is admittedly very understandable. But it's certainly not the healthiest approach for anyone's emotional well-being. For example, it's implied that Jeremiah held back his true feelings for Belly in season 2 because he felt like Conrad would be devastated if Belly chose him. And to me, this is just unfair, not only to Jeremiah himself, but also to Belly, whose world, for a long time, revolved around Jeremiah. By acting this way, Jeremiah essentially stripped Belly of her choice and nudged her towards Conrad, which honestly made my blood boil a little. In episode 6, we're going to see Jeremiah grapple with his responsibilities as the groom. He'll head back to Boston for his new business venture. While there, he'll confide in Stephen about his complicated history with Belly and the other cousins. He'll talk about how he felt like she was actually marrying him, and for a fleeting moment, hold on to the hope that she'll have a change of heart. Stephen will get incredibly frustrated with him, pointing out that this kind of behavior does more damage than good to everyone involved. He'll push Jeremiah to make a definitive decision. Either skip the wedding and fully commit to his new life there, or go to the wedding and have one last, truly honest conversation with Belly about his feelings. After a lot of soul-searching, Jeremiah will choose the latter, deciding that for once he's going to be completely open with Belly, no matter the outcome. And yet, when he arrives in Cousins to confront her, Conrad will be there, sensing that Jeremiah intends to throw Belly into confusion one last time. Conrad, who is already utterly exasperated with Jeremiah's past treatment of Belly, will do everything in his power to stop him. He'll remind Jeremiah of his past actions, how he neglected Belly, and how much he hurt her for years. He'll argue that it's far too late now to suddenly remember how much Belly means to him. He'll also insist that it's completely unfair to confuse her right before her wedding. Jeremiah will feel utterly defeated once again after this exchange, deciding to step back and simply be there as a brother, and nothing more. In the meantime, Belly and Conrad will be wrestling with their own share of problems. Now, I don't know about you, but I've always just assumed that Jeremiah was the one who took after their father, while Conrad mostly resembled their mother, Susanna, not just in terms of their physical appearance, but their personalities too. However, this season, especially since episode 5, I think we're starting to see that the reality is actually quite the opposite. At least character wise. Conrad's new internship at his father's company has revealed a completely different side of him, a more business, savvy, dare I say, almost cynical side. I mean, the argument over the family house was already a major clue about his resemblance to his father's more controlling nature. There were other subtle hints sprinkled throughout the season as well. For instance, at the memorial dinner, we saw him ordering the same incredibly expensive dish that his father ordered. Despite knowing that Laurel will be paying for everything, he also seems to care far too much about superficial things, like the brand of the wedding china, over the real meaning of the wedding. Plus, he clearly lacks financial understanding and speaks from a very privileged place whenever he opens his mouth. And yet, despite all these revelations, I have to admit, his growing tendency to prioritize business and business connections over everything, including Belly, is something entirely new and frankly concerning. In episode 5, he revealed that Mr. Fisher is willing to pay for the wedding. He wants to have it at a prestigious golf club, and he wants to invite his business associates to turn